Hello and welcome back to 4FS Gaming. This week we are going to be diving back into another Mythbusters episode. Many of these were suggestions from you guys in the last video, and I've also added a few of my own. We'll have lots more myths today associated with the Bomblance, explosives, choke bombs, and movement speed, and also some extra ones thrown in for a good mix. Before we start, I'd like to give a massive shout out to our Patreon supporters, and if you would like to help support the channel as well on our Patreon, that is linked in the description below. But let's get stuck in. Myth number 1. You move faster across the map if you stop to regain sprinting stamina. So the mechanic is simple. As you run, your hunter gets puffed out and starts moving more slowly when that lung icon appears on the bottom left of your screen. You can regain your sprint stamina by walking for a few seconds after that lung icon goes away. To test this, I plotted a route from the south spawn of Cypress Huts up to the northwest corner of Church, and I ran the route once, sprinting the entire way without stopping, and then I ran the route again, slowing to a walking pace when that lung icon appeared to regain my sprinting stamina. Now what I found was it was 7 seconds faster the second time. Waiting for that stamina to regenerate was certainly helpful. I calculated that overall this indicates a 4% increase in overall traversal speed. It seems that if you are crossing very large portions of the map, you will move slightly faster if you use this method, but only by a handful of seconds. You also have to take into account that when you are regaining stamina you are walking, which makes you more vulnerable to being headshot, so there's certainly trade-offs other than just pure speed. Nevertheless, this one is confirmed. On a similar topic, this myth is jumping before you cross water makes you cross that body of water faster. The theory is that you're stuck in deep water, which slows your movement for less time. Now I do this all the time, the people I play with do this, lots of people do this, I see it a lot. As approaching water, you take a jump right on the bank, and your momentum carries you across part of the waterway. Now logically, you've got less time in the water, which means faster speed, right? Well, I tested this in 2 different locations with different depths of water, one small river and then a deeper section, and let's see the comparative results. Well, I've gotta say, disappointed in myself, this one is busted. There does not seem to be any substantive advantage to you jumping to cross a body of water. I think this is probably due to the movement penalty that is imposed after a jump. It counteracts that initial faster speed as you enter that water surface. So let's go to myth number 3. It is that the Bomblance has the longest melee range in the game. And I tested this one against the Cavalry Saber because that's pretty renowned for its range. And as we can see, the Bomblance clearly outranges it by a couple of steps at least. The right side of the Bomblance heavy swing in particular seems to have the longest range of all. The arc at which you swing melee weapons in Hunt isn't even. This is why the knife seems to have a longer heavy attack than, say, the heavy knife or the dusters. Now, this would probably be good to test across all of the melee weapons to check their distances and arcs, but I'm pretty sure that deserves an entire video unto itself that may or may not be in the works depending on how busy I am. For now, we can confirm that the Bomblance range is very impressive, much longer than the stabbing weapons like the Saber. Now, on the topic of Bomblance range, myth number 4 is that you can kill an immolator by swinging the Bomblance and still be far enough away not to take any fire damage from the explosion. I tried this out, and it is confirmed. However, it's not as simple as just whacking the immolator as soon as you get into range. You have to start the swing almost before it is in range, and then swing your camera to the left so that the longest section of the Bomblance arc makes contact, and you're already starting to turn and move in the opposite direction when it explodes. Remember, cool guys don't look at explosions. Confirmed. So we're on a roll with the Bomblance, and myth number 5 is that the Bomblance projectile can instantly detonate barrels. And this is pretty easy to test. Yes, it's confirmed. As soon as it hits a barrel, the barrel explodes, which could be very handy in specific circumstances. Note that this also applies to blank fire decoys, flares, and fusees as well, so keep that in mind. Myth number 6, and I promise you this is the last one for the Bomblance, is that the choke bomb is able to instantly delete Bomblance projectiles. It's a simple setup: create a choke bomb cloud and fire a Bomblance harpoon through it. The harpoon goes poof. Myth confirmed. Choke bombs are an effective anti-Bomblance screen, for all that's worth anyway. Myth number 7, also related to the choke bomb, is that the choke bombs make it impossible to detonate red barrels within their cloud. So, yeah, this one looks to be confirmed as well. Let's look at one final choke bomb myth before moving on. Myth number 8 is that choke bombs stop flares from passing through them. Surprisingly, they don't. I can set things on fire by firing the flare through a choke bomb cloud. This is because although the choke bomb will put out a flare, it does so after a moment or two, not instantly in the same way it does explosives. This means that a flare travels fast enough to leave the cloud before it is extinguished. This one is busted. Let's go to myth number 9, which is that the Dauntless trait can diffuse explosives mid-air. This is easy to test just by throwing up frags up into the sky, and it's clearly confirmed as I can defuse them as they fall to the ground. I mean, you're an absolute badass, you can defuse explosives while they're still airborne, but that means you'd have to get close enough to use Dauntless on them, which is very, very risky. Myth number 10. Once the extract timer has started, you can move as far as you like from the extraction, as long as at least one of your team members is still in the extraction radius. Another easy one to test, I run as far as I can and the timer stays on. Handy for setting up ambushes on teams trying to chase you to the extraction by taking up some unexpected angles and cover, while still providing the option to escape if things go poorly. This one is confirmed. Here's another myth that I added at the last minute thanks to a heated exchange in my comment section the other week. Myth number 11. Knife light attacks are the fastest way to kill a hive swarm. So it's good to know the quickest way to get rid of these irritating hive swarms when they're on you, and much of the community believe that this is just using 3 light knife slashes. Now I'm excluding the dusters here because the knife is still the go-to choice, so I'm going to be referring to equipment that most people have in pretty much every single game. So yeah, the knife slashes, it works, and it is quick, but for me, I've always just used the butt of my rifle. 2 heavy bashes disables the swarm, so which one is actually faster? Well, yep, granted, the knife animation itself still has a slight edge, but in any real situation we have to measure the actual downtime you have between being able to fight, kill that hive swarm, and then get back to the fight. So I tested how long it took to pull off 3 knife light attacks or 2 heavy bashes between 2 weapon shots. Once you factor in the weapon switch speed and then you have to get back to your rifle to keep fighting, using the rifle butt seems significantly faster and more efficient, even if you were shooting from an ADS position as in this comparison. So this one is busted. I'm going to be sticking with the trusty rifle bash. Although the disclaimer here is that a medium slot weapon will perform poorly, so you better go to the knife in that instance, and this method is slightly more stamina intensive. Let's finish off this episode with one last myth. Myth number 12 is that the fan-in trait actually increases your rate of fire with single action revolvers even when you're aiming down sights by a very small amount. Let's compare how long it takes to empty all shots from a chain pistol with and without fanning. The only difference you see here is my minor human error when pulling the trigger in time. Fanning makes no difference to aim down sight fire, so this one is busted. As usual, please let us know in the comments if there are any further myths or questions that you have for our next video, and if you liked this video, please consider subscribing for more Hunt Showdown news and guides, and you can join our Discord to stay up to date. Thank you so much for watching. This is Ascendance from 4FS Gaming.